Welcome to Wayne's World.
No, it's not Wayne's World.
I was doing the joke from Wayne's World with the countdown.
Didn't we establish this last episode?
What?
Straight man.
You know what? A straight
Me.
man.
Zany.
Yeah. I don't think you understand what a straight man is. You don't understand what a straight man is. Straight man isn't somebody who you need to yes and. A straight man isn't somebody who no buts. You can still be a straight man and yes and my premise.
Okay, ready? Let's try it again.
No, it's done. It's over. You ruined it.
But we're not gonna play.
Hashtag
here?
Mike's right. Hashtag Mike's right.
Why does Mike always got to be right?
That's just the hashtag. You just don't understand it. I'm gonna send you a book on comedy.
I've done comedy. You've done comedy.
Welcome to PCMC, Pop Culture Man Children.
Yeah, and
It's not all right. Okay, so
this is the joke. You get the bit?
it's hilarious. To my right, or really right in front of me,
Right in front of your face.
is the maestro, the man with the lady boots, Mr. Emilio James Sparks.
These are not lady boots.
They've got a real feminine energy, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
These are Saint Laurent cowboy boots. Chelsea cut.
What is a Chelsea cut?
I guess at the ankle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if it was a regular cowboy boot, it would come up
See,
to the
that's what
shin.
strikes me as uncowboy-like. See, I don't feel like a real cowboy would wear that.
These are fancy.
They are certainly
Because
fancy.
they're from Saint Laurent.
If you were really
But
like...
the cowboy boot is the tip.
Oh, I see. I see.
You see how it's a pointier tip
Mm-hmm.
than a
I
round
thought that was
tip?
Elf.
No.
I thought that was Aladdin.
I could see that. But the
Oh, no, the Aladdin's the curl.
curl.
Yeah, that's the curl.
These are more of a cowboy-esque tip.
Well, you're Emilio Sparks.
Yes, and you are Mike Bongiorno. You are wearing lovely tennis shoes.
Yeah, I got them at Payless.
Yeah. You are
Buy
the
one, get one half. These were like $15.
Lou Costello to my Bud Abbott.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was a big fan of him as a kid.
You were my Stan Laurel to my Ollie. Right? Yeah.
No, I mean, if you're saying you're the straight man, it would be the other way around.
No, Stan Laurel was...
Oh, that's right, right. Stan Laurel was the funny one.
Yeah.
You're the Oliver Hardy.
I'm Oliver Hardy. And this is Pop Culture Man Children, where we sit and hang and talk
This is a
about
mini-sode.
stuff. What is a mini episode?
Well, every other week we do a mini-sode. We do full episodes,
Yeah.
which have 3 segments.
Yes.
Your news, your chill sesh, and your obsessions. And then we do mini episodes where we tackle a topic. Sometimes it's a big topic, sometimes it's a little topic, sometimes it's a list, sometimes we're looking at a specific movie or a
one
specific
thing.
event.
It's one thing.
It's one thing. It's a slightly smaller episode. It is slightly mini.
Yeah.
But it doesn't... I tell you where we don't come up short. In the comedy and the content.
There you go.
We're always long on that, my friend.
Yes, we are. Content swinging. We roll through and we just slap our content on the desk and be like, what's good with it?
I know.
Let's show it off. And if
Absolutely.
you want to show off with us. Twitter, Instagram.
Show me your content.
At Emilio Sparks, EMILIOSPARKS. We also have a Twitter. We also have an Instagram page for Pop Culture Man Children, at Pop Culture Man Children. Mike runs that. Use the hashtag PCMC to tag us in anything geek or pop culture related because, hey, we're there for you, babe. You could follow.
Is that our new catchphrase? We're there for you, babe?
I like it.
You said it with a flair and you winked at me when you said it. And I was like, we're there for you, babe.
Now, do you know where that's from?
No.
It's, oh, God. You know, I'm always teaching, folks. John Stamos,
Uh-huh.
Full House.
Yeah.
There was an episode where Uncle Jesse was trying to tackle everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he was trying to do everything. Bake cookies for Stephanie's Girl Scouts. Coach DJ soccer team. Get the jingles for Joey.
This sounds vaguely familiar.
J&J advertising. Do Wake Up San Francisco with... play on Wake Up San Francisco with Becky and Danny. And every time somebody asked Jesse to do something, he'd be like, I'm there for you, babe.
Okay.
So
Sorry
we should...
I didn't get that reference. I haven't watched that show since I was a little kid.
So that, yeah, that's our new hashtag. PCMC. We're there for you, babe.
Fantastic.
So yeah, hit us with that, do that, and however you listen to PCMC, please do so on Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, whatever. I would prefer iTunes. Mike would prefer Spotify because we want the rhythms to rhythm and the computers to pute. So if you give us a nice review on the iTunes, that in turn can move us up and maybe even get us on one of those top-rated lists so that way we can come in and swing our content around. Be like, hey, look what we're doing. Todd
Absolutely.
Glass.
Absolutely.
Mark Maron.
Fucking My Favorite Murder.
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan's a juggernaut. We're not gonna beat him.
I think he would be friends with us though.
Me and him would argue a lot.
Yeah,
but I like him.
Yeah, and me and him would get along swimmingly.
We respect each other
because we work out and do martial arts.
I work out. I don't do martial arts.
Yeah.
Also, you haven't done martial arts in like a month. Who you kidding?
I had broken ribs.
Yeah. Are they still broken?
No, they're fine now.
So let's get back in the dojo.
I'm concentrating on getting bigger quads.
Anyway, so it's a mini-sode. I refuse to talk about your quads again. So today's topic is a slightly more serious one. It's not serious. It's something that I take serious, which is the concept of SJWs. Are you familiar with SJWs?
Social justice warriors.
Yes, social justice warriors. Now, if you're not familiar with that term, you might be thinking, well, that sounds amazing. Social justice warrior, like Superman or like people who fought in World War II? And no, actually, SJW is used as an insult by conservatives and the alt-right and people who online don't like seeing any progressive ideology in their stuff. Mm-hmm. To give you an example, if you don't like the new Star Wars movies because you don't like Kathleen Kennedy. Now, here's the thing. SJWs will never say that they don't like somebody because they're a woman, or they don't like somebody because they're black, or they don't like somebody because they're LGBTQIA+. They will say, oh, they're not good, or they're not original, or they are ruining their childhood. But really, if you look at the things that are always being mocked, the things that are always being boycotted, it's things that have progressive ideology. It's things that have representation of people that aren't just straight white people. PCMC is here to say being an SJW is not a bad thing. I want to take back that term. I'm an SJW. I'm proud of it. I'm a social justice warrior. Nothing could be cooler than that. And really, all I'm saying is when I watch TV, when I read books, when I look at movies, I want to see people who don't just look like me. I'm a straight, cisgendered white male. And I'm not going around crying and going, oh my God, I'm under attack. I'm not going around being an incel. Do you know what incels are?
No, tell me.
It stands for involuntary celibate. It's basically these misogynist, ugly dudes who can't get fucked for anything. They actually think that if it wasn't for feminism, they would get fucked. It's just a way for ugly guys to try to politicize the fact that they can't get any. We talked last episode about Thundercats.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get back into that argument because you got very heated. The vein on your forehead started to pulse. But I'll say I saw an interesting video talking about the new Thundercats, and this person who hated the new Thundercats, even though it's not out yet, actually related it to politics. I don't want to give this person any traffic, but basically the video said that the reason we have this new Thundercats that's a comedy, lighter version is because we're living in an SJW cucked world. You know what cucked is?
Cuckold?
Yeah, it comes from cuckold. Yeah. But the alt-right uses the word cuck as an insult. And, you know, cuckolding, its traditional definition is when a man watches his wife have sex with someone else. That's the horns of the cuckle. But for these neckbeards, a cuck is anybody who doesn't hate women. Like if you hold a door for a woman, you're a cuck.
Okay.
This guy's literally saying that you're a cuck because you might like the new Transformers. Or you're a cuck if you like the new Ghostbusters. You're supposed to hate it because as a white straight male, the world, we're under attack. These guys are men's rights activists.
That's really a thing?
Yeah. What's crazy is they think that they're under attack, but they're not under attack. It's really more like, let's say there's you and me here, right? And we have a pizza pie. Mm-hmm. And let's say I've got 7 slices and you've got 1 slice.
Yeah.
All right? That's unequal. I have 7, you have 1. But I've always had 7, you've always had 1. And now you say, hey, can I have 1 more? But I go, whoa, 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 stop attacking me. I'm under attack here. It's natural. It's normal. I've had 7 slices of pizza forever. Why do you want to ruin things? Why do you want 1 more slice? Why are you going to make everything political? Well, it's not about politics. The reason that you have 1 slice and I have 7 slices is not about politics. Let's not bring politics into it. Don't play that card. That's the sort of mindset of these people. Mm. White, straight males have almost complete historical, ubiquitous power.
They're eating all the pizza.
Right, they're eating all of the pizza. And if somebody gets just a little bit of an inch, if they get a little bit of representation, they get mad. They say that it's political and that you're making it political, even though they don't realize that everything is political. And even if you have a movie with all white straight people, that's political. In not having other people, that's a political choice. But they think, oh, well, this is a movie or a TV show, but now you have forced your SJW agenda. You've forced a woman into this, or you forced a queer character into this, and you have made it political, and you're ruining it with your SJW ways.
These people just sound like stupid heads.
They are stupid heads, Emilio.
I don't like them. I'm the average guy here, you know what I mean? You're the college professor.
Oh, I forgot for a second. I'm a professor?
Yeah.
I'm a professor.
We have to remind the people.
I'm an adjunct professor. I'm not. I've only got a master's. I don't have a PhD.
Yeah, one day.
No.
For those that are playing along at home that aren't college graduates and they're listening to PCMC.
We're for everybody.
We are. So if you identify with a character outside of a white male, age 18 to 35, you are in the minority, and you are wrong for vocalizing that in a public sphere, in the College of Public Opinion, in a room full of your peers.
Right. You're making it political.
You're making it political. So basically, if you identify with Gwenpool, and you feel that Gwenpool is a proper representation of who you are within comic books and or television, let's just say, you are now forcing the agenda on that 18 to 35 staunch white male.
Right. White straight males should not be forced to look at anybody who doesn't look exactly like them.
Just making sure that I'm following along.
I'm really glad that you brought up Gwenpool, because she's another example of this type of criticism. If you go right now, go on YouTube and Google Gwenpool, you'll see a bunch of videos that are just rants from these guys. And
one of the biggest characters in the last 5 years for Marvel.
Right. It's all, see, this is what's wrong with Marvel. It's Marvel's SJW. This is why Marvel's not doing good, because they've got these SJW characters. We didn't need Gwenpool, blah, 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 blah.
But the book sold.
Yeah. And people did love the character. In some ways, it goes back to Gamergate. Gamergate, which was, I don't want to go through the whole thing because it's so big and we've talked about it before. But there's this idea that there are these people, usually white straight men, and online, what they say that they're protecting is
truth, justice, the American way.
And they're protecting genre, and they're protecting fandom, and they're protecting Star Wars and Marvel and comics and manga and toys or whatever.
Apple pie, hot dogs, hamburgers.
Yes, all of those American things. They'll go after you because they'll say that you're trying to ruin their thing.
Fireworks, guns, the Bible.
Exactly. All those nouns. So they get mad. With Gamergate, it was about video games. There were these female bloggers and female critics that were saying, hey, some of these games, they're really sexist. You've got prostitutes that you kill for no reason for the game. Why can't these games have some better representation?
Lara Croft having massive tits in Tomb Raider.
Right, ridiculous. And a lot of these guys online were like, oh, you're making it political. You're ruining criticism. We're defending criticism. Representation is important. It's super important.
Yes, it is. But here's where I will argue, not even with you, but I guess the idea of a public outcry, like I said before, in the College of Public Opinion. Wrestling Twitter is, to me, one of the most cynical things in the world because it's ridiculous. And everybody and their mother has an opinion on a product. They feel that they're entitled because they spend X amount of dollars on this, and they buy T-shirts for that, and they go to this event, and they live or die within these characters, that they have the right to comment on every little thing, whether the machine, WWE, or the smaller machines in professional wrestling, good, bad, or indifferent. They will continue to do so. And then they comment on these people's personal lives. Well, why did Roman Reigns snub a fan when he was on vacation with his wife and 3 kids for a picture and an autograph and this? And then there was this whole big melee about, it turned into a little girl, and he snubbed the little girl. And then finally, and this was a huge thread, I saw this on Twitter, my mind was blown, Roman Reigns finally chimes in.
Okay.
Roman Reigns goes, before you start to attack me and my family, let's get something straight. It wasn't a little girl. It was a grown man. He was with no kids. Mm-hmm. I'm feeding my 2 twin sons, my daughter sitting next to me, and my wife, who I haven't seen in 19 days because I was on the road. And I didn't say, get the hell away from me or anything. I told him, once I'm done feeding my kids and having a conversation with my wife, circle back around, and I got you.
Yeah.
So then there was this whole big uproar about how Roman Reigns is a piece of shit, how he's wrong, but then once he corrected the situation, explained the situation, then everybody that was saying he was a piece of shit and he was wrong was starting to get defended. Oh, he needs to just spend time with his family. So it's because you make up this imaginary story that the little girl gets snubbed, everybody's up in arms. But the moment he says it was a grown-ass man, now the people that shitted on him were wrong. Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. So this is where it comes into play, where it's vicious and it's toxic at certain points because people flip-flop. You formulate an opinion before the actual fact, and I think social media is beautiful for that, where opinions and conversation have taken over actual fact, and certain people will gain a following because they are just spewing vicious tirades.
That's true. Definitely people will gain a following just for being negative. But
that's where I feel that social media is becoming an issue. Is because
I would
now
defend
the in thing
that
is to be negative.
Well, absolutely. But I would defend fan engagement.
Nothing wrong with fan engagement.
Yeah, it's when it gets negative.
But
I don't even mind about negative. For me, the problem
is to be you shit on everything though.
To me, the problem is when what you're going.
But they're not
when you're going after
fact,
other
though.
people.
But that's what I'm saying. But they're not backing it up with fact. Like, if you can give me a legitimate reason as to why you are offended that girls are playing video games and most games are not marketed and presented to a female audience, give me a reason why. Show me why. Just don't show me why this is an issue. Don't sit there and just say that because
representation
butthurt.
Is important.
Don't tell me that you are butthurt that they are marketing the same video game that you want to play to the opposite sex. Now tell me why it's wrong. Most people can't do that. So basically they create this own big grandiose plot as to why they're offended, but never back it up with fact, just opinion. And that's what social media creates. The idea that your opinion matters over anything else. If there is a legitimate plight for women playing video games, tell me why it is bad that a female is playing video games with a video game that you play. So if we're sitting here and you're saying that Street Fighter is now going to be marketed for women, okay, guy, neckbeard, in Neckbeardia, why is it bad that a woman has a vested interest in a video game and that you cannot wrap your little Peabody brain around it? So why is it an issue? Give me fact. Don't give me opinion. Tell me why. Show me the demographics. Show me the pie chart of women buying video games and then the video games decreasing. Give me the demographics.
They would normally say what they always say. I mean, there's really no facts. What they always say is that
you have to back it up with fact.
They say you've made it political, or they say you...
It's the easy crutch to go to, Michael, and you know it. You make it political. Oh, well, you have to attack gender. Why are you bringing race into everything?
There's two topics here. There's how some critics, we'll call them the neckbeards, how the neckbeards relate to texts that have greater representation and how they go, oh, that's SJW. But then there's the other part of this where how they act towards other critics. I think it's totally fine and right for a critic to look at anything they want and say, why doesn't this have more people of color? Why doesn't this thing reflect the real world more?
No, see, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
What I'm not fine with is the reverse aspect of it, where everybody now wants to shit on something because it's the in thing to do. You go on Twitter, there is never anything nice about anything. Like, you can check every hashtag in the world. There's always going to be, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks. And I see it because of wrestling Twitter, because I do wrestle rap. And I see it. And even people come up to me,
but what is the political aspect of wrestling Twitter?
The political aspect is WWE is evil. They don't understand their audience. Vince McMahon is so far removed from the product. He doesn't get it no more. He's pushing one guy. This guy's not getting pushed. This one isn't getting this. This one isn't getting that. The TV stays the same. It never changes. It sucks and blah, 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 blah. Listen, if it sucks so much, Why the fuck would Fox invest $1 billion to get the rights for wrestling for 5 years?
That's the same thing that happens with a lot of other things outside of wrestling. Like,
and go for anything. I'm just using wrestling as an example.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, like the Thundercats. The Thundercats thing is part of a larger argument that involves Teen Titans and the idea of Cartoon Network doesn't care about you. Cartoon Network, we pay for them and they don't give a shit about you. And that's negative, and I think that's not the kind of criticism I'm into. But I'm not necessarily as against that as you are.
But that's
my problem is when it gets to the reasons you don't like something is because it is for someone else.
But see, that's the criticism I'm against and I'm turned off for, because it starts out as, well, I don't like this just because of this and it's killing my childhood, and then you see, and then you go on these motherfuckers' Twitter pages, right? And then you start reading and you realize, oh, they're just jerk-offs. Mm. And they're really just, wow, any type of agenda they're going to shit on. They're just vicious cats, plain and simple.
Yeah.
And it's just like, ooh. They don't get it. They don't understand that it's a big fucking world out there and there's a lot of money to be made. And if you just target one audience, you are just basically eating only this small little pie, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're right about the negativity because it will get you likes and retweets, and on YouTube it will get you
a following.
Yeah. That's why I think for PCMC, our thing has always been like, we say we're not neckbeards. We're not a show that every episode you're going to tune in and we're going to bash something. These same people that talk about the SJW agenda, they're the same people that are anti-Disney and they're anti-big business and they boycott Star Wars movies because Disney's evil empire. On one hand, you're saying that Disney's an evil empire, but then on the other hand, you're saying Disney is pushing a minority agenda, being SJWs and pushing a liberal agenda. Like, it doesn't make sense. Those two things don't go together. If Disney is big and monolithic and controls everything, you can't say, and also on top of that, they're pushing a small agenda.
It just doesn't work.
It doesn't make sense.
Big business doesn't push a small agenda.
Right. Big business is looking for money. Big business wouldn't try to offend people.
No.
The reason why we're seeing greater diversity is because we're moving on. There's greater diversity behind the camera and there's greater diversity in front of the camera, and it's still not great yet, but it's getting better. And these are all positive steps. And if you are challenged, if you get scared because, oh my God, this character's gay, or oh my God, this superhero's a woman, or whatever it is,
well, in their feeble brains, they can't, or they have not yet processed the idea, or that they're uncomfortable with it, because maybe in the back of their head they're thinking, wow, okay, this does work, but they're just afraid because maybe it has to deal with climate and surrounding, that no, wait a minute, I was taught one thing for years and it's wrong?
Yeah. Here's the way that I think of media. The media screen, whether it be the TV screen, the movie screen, the screen of your phone, is like a big mirror. And it doesn't show us reality, but it shows us a reflection of reality.
Yeah.
If you're a white, straight male, you look in that fake mirror and you see yourself. And when you see yourself, you go, okay, look, that looks like me. I'm reflected. I'm a normal person. I'm an average person. I am the default person. But if you're a person of color, or a queer person, or a little person, or any person who's a minority of any kind of way, when you look at that mirror, whether it be a magazine, a movie, a video game, and you don't see yourself, you're not reflected. And you go, I don't fit. I'm not a real part of this world. So to push for greater representation isn't trying to push an agenda on anybody. It's not an attack on white guys. White guys are still a majority in numbers, and they're not under attack just because other people want a little piece of the pie. There's a great quote I want to put at the end of this episode. It's from the great writer James Baldwin, and it was during his Oxford debate between him and William F. Buckley. And he talks about how he didn't know he was black until he looked into a mirror because everything around him was white. And how with old cowboy movies, with Westerns, you rooted for the cowboys while they were fighting the Indians, but then you grew up and you realized you're the Indians, meaning you're the other with a capital O, you're the bad guy. One last thing I want to say is what political correctness is. People think political correctness is a pussification of our culture, and that political correctness is about being nice to everybody, and that nobody can take a joke, and we have to be politically correct because we hurt people's feelings. That's not what political correctness is. Political correctness is an understanding of how language works, and it's an understanding of how representation works. And that's why when we meet a transgender person, we respect whatever pronoun they want. We don't go, oh, why are you changing it? Oh, this is ridiculous. There's only two genders, or oh, whatever. You respect them because they just want to exist in a culture. So be an SJW. I'm an SJW.
Fight against the army of unfuckable hate nerds. Just stay woke. Continue to fight the good
be
fight.
Woke.
If you want to be a Jedi and you're a girl, be a Jedi.
Absolutely. You know who's woke? L3 from Solo.
I liked L3.
Lando Calrissian's girlfriend, I guess. They're fucking in that, right?
Yeah, there was a little sexiness to L3.
Emilia Clarke says to her, how does that work? And she goes, we make it work.
We make it work.
So it's like, so they fuck.
I love that she liberated the droids. She was like, you're free now, I guess.
She's a woke-ass droid. There's a part where Lando goes, what can I get you? And she goes, equal rights.
It was great.
But this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. You and me think it's funny and great, or we might have no real opinion on it. There's definitely somebody out there right now who's ranting about how much Disney and Star Wars are trying to turn you into cucks because this is their fucking agenda and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. But meanwhile, it was just a really funny joke.
Right.
And it was
it's awesome because some little girl or some little boy in the audience is gay, or some little boy in the audience does feel like they are a second-class citizen, and they go, oh, that reflects me.
And I can identify with them.
Yeah.
And I can take pride in who I am.
Yeah.
People don't see it like that.
People are dumb.
That's because we work in the education system.
We're smart and you're dumb. That's the basic point. No, it's not that. The point is there's, I think, a toxicity in the world of fandom, as you were talking about with WWE, and we're not about that at PCMC.
No, we're not about that life.
We're about fucking love and toys and T-shirts and fucking all sorts of fun.
You don't want no smoke with us. Don't come over here with your itchy Twitter fingers.
Exactly.
We don't deal with that over here. We will shut you the fuck down.
Yeah. So we'll get some negative comments because of this.
So be it.
That's fine.
You can unfollow us. That's fine. For more information on who we are and what we do, please go to our Instagram page at Pop Culture Man Children. You can follow me on Twitter at Emilio Sparks. Use that hashtag PCMC when you want to talk about Pop Culture Man Children stuff because, hey, we're there for you, babe.
Stay woke.
Ready to go bye-bye?
I'm ready to go bye-bye.
This means, in the case of an American Negro, born in that glittering republic, and in the moment you are born, since you don't know any better, every stick and stone and every face is white, and since you have not yet seen a mirror, you suppose that you are too. It comes as a great shock, around the age of 5 or 6 or 7, to discover that the flag to which you have pledged allegiance, along with everybody else, has not pledged allegiance to you. It comes as a great shock to discover that Gary Cooper killing off the Indians when you were rooting for Gary Cooper, that the Indians were you. It comes as a great shock to discover that the country, which is your birthplace, and to which you owe your life and your identity, has not in its whole system of reality evolved any place for you.